What is up, MHA owners? If you're still listening to us here on the MHA podcast, you must really love fantasy football, or you really love the Mile High affiliates of Fantasy Football League. Either way, on today's show, we hand out some hardware as we present to you the 2025 MHA Awards. I'm Eric Lansing along with Mikey Renault and Todd Diamond. Gentlemen, how are we doing on this Tuesday night? The regular season of the NFL is over. It's playoff time. Our playoffs in the MHA are done. Does it feel weird not to have anything to really, I don't know, look at? You're looking at your phone and the app and the website, and now all fantasy football is over. Sad.
Yeah, a little bit. But you know what? But you know what though? Broncos.
What, Todd? What do you tell me? What I need to know?
Our Broncos are the number 1 seed. The playoffs go through the Mile High City. It's phenomenal. It is phenomenal. Fantasy football may be over. I may have, come up short, getting my 4th championship. But the Denver Broncos are the number 1 seed, and the playoffs go through the Mile High City. Got to get to Super Bowl 60. They got it. They got to come to the altitude. Let's go.
Well, Todd seems excited. How are you doing, Miguel?
Hey, I'm doing all right. Just getting ready to have a fun-filled weekend of playoff football. Nothing better than playoff football, right?
Yeah, amen.
Yeah, there's some good games out there. I know Mikey's excited for the Carolina game.
I am. Carolina, sneaky competitive, right?
Yeah.
Sneaky competitive. You might be working with me instead on Saturday, but
maybe.
Maybe. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, playoff time. Sunday's game is pretty cool. Pretty nice little 3-game set, triple header of some awesome games. So I'm excited for it as well. Well, today we will present the awards as we talked about. We'll do our first ever Rookie of the Year award. Of course, the T.Y. Hilton Award, the worst move of 2025, along with the best move of 2025, Comeback Player of the Year, the Surprise Player of the Year, the Bust of the Year, along with the most coveted award, the MHA Most Valuable Player. So, kind of how we did this. We didn't do this like we did in the past, where we got together and talked about it. It was just more of, here are our top 3, and however it kind of, whoever had the most votes, I guess you would say, ended up being the winner.
All right.
So we'll talk about it and all that fun stuff as, we get to talk through these awards, kind of look back on the season a little bit. Always cool to look back and see what went well, what didn't go well, in terms of guys that we picked or didn't pick, or guys that came out of nowhere, as we talked about in the surprise. So we'll start things off here with our Rookie of the Year. And this is Todd's super excited about it. He really wanted this to be a category this year.
Yes, thank you. Appreciate it.
Well, we got to placate Todd somehow. So we'll make him do that. Okay. So some of the candidates, I'll read off some of the candidates since this is the first year. We don't have anybody to talk about who's won it in the past, but here's some of the candidates, and I'll mention the candidates. I'll announce the winner. We could talk about the winner, and then we could talk about some of those guys that we thought should have won, or about some of the other guys. Whatever. We're just kind of going off the cuff here.
Yep.
So for some of the candidates for Rookie of the Year, of course, Tet McMillan for Notorious CUP had a pretty good season for Carolina in his rookie year. He had 160 points, which was 17th amongst all wide receivers. 70 receptions, 1,000 yards, a little over 1,000 yards, and 7 TDs. Of course, Emeka Egbuka was pretty good at the beginning of the year, 148 points. He finished 24th. Todd's boy, Quinshaw Judkins, he finished 26th amongst running backs, but had 127 yards, 7 TDs, and 26 receptions. Of course, Ashton Genty, he ended up finishing 12th overall amongst running backs. And then RJ Harvey also in the mix as well. He had 188 points, finished 21st, had 7 touchdowns running and 5 touchdowns receiving. And so, out of those guys, who is the winner? Give me the drum roll, please. Thank you so very much. I think it's a very long drum roll effect. And the winner is RJ Harvey.
Yeah.
Both Todd and Mikey had him as their number 1 that they chose. So since it's Todd's boy, I'll let him go first if he wants to talk about RJ Harvey.
I mean, again, when RJ Harvey got drafted, and it was all these comparisons that that they had about RJ Harvey. Oh, it's Alvin Kamara. I mean, he's a small running back and only 5'8", but obviously at the beginning of the season it was a lot of J.K. Dobbins, and obviously Dobbins was doing great, and Harvey was just trying to find his way. And Mikey likes to point out too that, Sean Payton, kind of wants, doesn't just hand, stuff to rookies and everything like that, and kind of wanted to get his feet, kind of get him acclimated a little bit more. And obviously when Dobbins went out, obviously that opened the door for Harvey to take advantage. And, throughout the season, for me, he was, I mean, I would say fair. I would say just a smidge above consistent for him for his rookie season, but when he was on, he he just get him the ball, and he made plays left and right. So RJ Harvey, I mean, I mean, definitely next year, he definitely is going to go. He might go early. I don't know if he goes second round, but maybe third round, like he did this year, possibly. I mean, we do obviously, a lot of us are Broncos fans, so we may he may go high once again. So and again, he was a big part for me to get to the championship game, and earned it. So hopefully he keeps it going now, going toward the playoffs in reality for the Broncos.
So, Mikey, was him helping Todd a big reason why you put him as your number one rookie of the year candidate?
It was. Yeah, I mean, him, J.K. Dobbins getting hurt, and Harvey taking over that role turned him into, one of the better running backs over the course from week 8 on. And I think that made Todd's team even more dangerous. Like, just being able to have that second running back to pair with McCaffrey, and to where he was able to rely upon double figures. And Harvey had a couple, 20-point games in that stretch that really kind of pushed Todd into that championship level team.
So RJ Harvey, the rookie of the year in the MHA in the first year of the award. You guys want to say anything else about the other rookies, or should we move on to the T.Y. Hilton Award?
I mean, I guess maybe I'm pat myself on the back for one more other
Yeah,
rookie.
of course. Go ahead.
Yeah, Quinshawn Judkins. I mean, obviously before he got hurt, but he was. I mean, he's definitely going to be He's going to definitely be a big part of that Cleveland offense, and what he did too as well. I mean, he was also a big part too of my team this season as well too. So yeah, just throw that one in there too as well.
Mikey, would you like to pat yourself on the back for anything?
No, I don't think I really had any rookies on my team, so nothing to pat myself on
Well,
the
I'm
back.
still giving you a window if we're just patting ourselves on the back all the time.
I have a
Open
feeling,
free world. Everybody can pat themselves on the
I have
back. Way to go,
I have a
Eric. Way to go,
feeling
Mike.
there's going to be a lot of that from Todd tonight.
Oh, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. Let's move on to the T.Y. Hilton Award. Of course, if you're not familiar with what this award signifies, it's a bad player who has started way too many times. A couple of award winner in the last 3 years. Of course, 2024, we saw a lot of Deebo Samuel that was played. 2023, Damian Pierce. And how about 2022, Kyle Pitts? How about that? So those three guys. So here's some of the candidates for the T.Y. Hilton Award. Some of the ones that we saw on here. We saw Aaron Rodgers from Chad Powers fan club. Looked like I was trying to do all this at the very last second, but it looked like he had 5 games where he had under 40 points. And so for Chad Powers, running him quite a bit. Todd he had Keenan Allen on that list as well. Actually, that is Todd. Yeah, he had Keenan Allen there. I thought I had that number here somewhere. I did a lot of notes here yesterday, and I still don't think I got through everybody. Oh gosh, I just don't have that number in front of me. I must have thrown away that sheet. Although he was definitely up there as well. I had Brian Thomas Jr. up there. He was started 10 weeks with 9 points or less this past season. Romeo Dobbs, Lad McConkey, Ricky Pearsall, Roma Dunze, Evan Ingram, Isaiah Pacheco. And so, in terms of this award, none of us voted for the same person. We all had six or three different people from one another. So I guess we'll try to have this conversation quickly on the podcast. We'll let Mikey discuss his number one in Aaron Rodgers and why he should be the number one guy.
Well, and this one was kind of difficult. I always try and look
Yeah.
at teams that, like, I try and not pick a player from a team that's a playoff team when it comes to this award, because the heart of this award is, yes, not playing somebody that you shouldn't, but it's gotta like hurt you. And so I try and think about the dough of the week and just, dumb decisions. Uh, Chad Powers was put in a tough position because he drafted Jaden Daniels, who was hurt off and on in the season. Aaron Rodgers was his backup, but man, when you look at it, like every single time that he put him in there, he was terrible. Like, and so at a point, like you figure you got to go look for somebody else. I mean, the quarterback in our league is the most important position, and so it's so important to get that right. And after the first couple weeks, when he was just complete garbage, I don't know. I thought it was a mistake to keep trying to roll with him.
Yeah, he had a couple of weeks where he tried a different quarterback, but with all, especially with some teams having like three quarterbacks on the roster, there's not a lot of great ones out there. I know he tried Kirk Cousins at some point, and that really didn't work for him either. Todd, you had Keenan Allen as your number one guy. You want to talk about that?
Hater.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, again, what a shocker! Keenan Allen and T.Y. Hilton. Forever scarred in the eyes of the Butterfingers. Yeah, I mean, Keenan Allen just really, even coming into the season, you had Lad McConkey, you had, and there was more hype around him, but Keenan Allen just, I don't know, it's Keenan Allen just getting to that point, I think, where, might be the end of the road a little bit for him for his career, and it just, and two, it's Justin Herbert wasn't as good. Didn't have a great season either, so that didn't help the situation. But Keenan Allen, for like a long time ago, used to be consistent. But he's just not. I just any yeah. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of a better a better analogy to why Keenan Allen just isn't good anymore. Like I wouldn't even.
He's not good up to your standards, is what you're saying?
I would say a little bit, yeah.
I mean, he finished 27th this year.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
A lot of it was
It's
single
pretty
digit
bad.
games.
He was the last pick of the draft.
Started off
So,
strong, but then yeah. But yeah, so yeah, I had my number one. It was kind of a 1A, 1B,
mhm.
but just because Brian Thomas, there was just so much. He was so good in his first year, and then for him to just totally blow it, and for him to finish, gosh, what would he finish? Like in near 50. 50, was he 47? And just a really terrible year. And I know at some point, I mean, Gonzo Cats made the playoffs, so that stands out. That well, he still made the playoffs despite it. And the other guy was Romeo Dobbs and Belt Sanders, who just could not get off of Romeo Dobbs. He had 8 weeks where he scored 9 points or less, and that's Romeo Dobbs. So those were kind of the two guys I picked. So I don't know who should win this award. I mean, I feel I understand Mikey's position that it's a quarterback and it's the most important position. I think Keenan Allen's just more of Todd's burned scenario. I don't
Yeah.
know. I mean, and I found my note for Keenan Allen. He was started 5 times by Kevin when he had 5 points or less, or 9 points or less. So 5 weeks, not the worst, but
I just
who's it going to
hates him. I
be?
don't
Who are we
get
going to
it.
vote for here?
Hey,
Is it surprising, Mikey? If he burns him, he's on his burn list forever.
Yeah,
Doesn't have to make sense.
that's why T.Y. Hilton forever will be, will still be burning. So it's okay. But I guess I would vote for Aaron Rodgers. I'd vote for Aaron Rodgers.
Okay, then Aaron Rodgers it will be. Aaron Rodgers is our T.Y. Hilton Player of the Year. All right, let's go on to the next one. Our worst move of the year. A couple of the previous year's winners. Of course, last year, the Lemonheads not starting golf when he had, what was it, 80 plus points. It was bananas. Ended up costing me the season. Before that, of course, Najee Harris, third overall pick by the Butterfingers in 2023. And then that year, where NWA drafted a couple of quarterbacks super early and never drafted them. So, what are the candidates for this year? Some of the things we saw was what Todd mentioned. A couple of his are James Conner was drafted, and I guess Garrett Wilson as well. For yours truly, I put up here Butterfingers trading away the 2026 second round pick for Jamar Chase, and he didn't win the title. I know he helped him there, but that's a big loss. You better come up with that title if you're going to trade him away. I also had NWA drafting Lamar Jackson in the second round, and he finished 24th despite playing a majority of his games. And then back to Butterfingers drafting Caleb Johnson in the sixth round. He ended up finishing, I didn't realize this until I just looked yesterday, 8 total points. And then for Mikey, he has Burrow, so his own player, drafting Burrow in the first round. He mentioned Quain's draft, where he had Jefferson was a bust, McConkey was a bust, Bowers didn't live up to his hype, although he was hurt for a few weeks. But even in those weeks, I mean, the Raiders were bad. And then his rookies didn't pan out, at least totally is where at least probably where they were drafted. And Mikey also mentioned Todd's draft outside of 1, 2, 3, and 14. And Todd still ended up making the playoffs despite that. So good for him. So I'll let you go first, Todd. Why do you think James Conner should be the worst move of the year?
Well, again, we kind of, James Conner. We've seen the good and the bad from James Conner. We see the good on point. I think Eric, you've had him a couple years, and he's been really good for you. But other years, he's just been not very well, not very good. And yeah, I mean that whole Arizona backfield is just, I mean, face it, the best player on that whole team is Trey McBride at this point. But yeah, James Conner. I mean, how many running backs have they gone through in that team? I mean, and obviously too, James Conner is injury prone too, as you know too, Eric. So,
I don't
yeah,
know if I call him injury prone. I mean, he only played in 3 games this year, but he played 16 the year before, had a couple of 13 game years and a 15. So I mean, he's never really going to play every game of the season. But I mean, he had 8 touchdowns last year, or 9 touchdowns last year, 7, 7, 15. So he's been productive when he's been out there. This year, he just played in 33 games and was hurt for a majority of the year.
yeah, but again, I think it's just like the injury factor. Obviously, is the sometimes is just, I guess, nitpicking at that, I guess, per se. But um, yeah, but
Where was he drafted this year?
fourth round.
4th round. So
And
not break your back either. It was Gonzo Cats who still ended up making the playoffs. Mikey, talk about your number one. Why you think your is the worst move of the year, despite because yours was also based on an injury.
just perspective. When you look at my team, I had 2 of the best receivers in the league, one of the best running backs in the league. And I think about it, if things could change and I don't draft Burrow and I draft A-Chan or Jonathan Taylor in that spot, can you imagine what my team would have been?
hmm.
And if I would have waited on quarterback and got somebody I liked, later on, like a Dak Prescott that, went in round 6, like that's the danger sometimes when you draft quarterback early. Now,
But you,
it's I don't regret it because I didn't second guess myself at the beginning, but I can see the where looking back on it now, hindsight's 2020. But yeah, it was risky.
but too, Mike, you've always been like for the longest time. You've always waited on quarterback, in just the last few years, because you've always said, well, the quarterback when we do our rankings in the offseason, quarterback, you know, there's there's like the lower end quarterbacks. There's not a lot of, it's really top heavy per se. And you've always waited on quarterbacks. I mean, like, I remember one year when you drafted a quarterback, you got like Jameis Winston. And I think that was that year he scored like, I mean, he was throwing touchdowns, but he was throwing interceptions, but he was getting completions, and you waited on him. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it's, you need to get the top guy. If you can get the top guy and he can do it, and obviously you pray that he doesn't get injured. And Joe Burrow definitely is one of those, I guess you could say, roll the dice type quarterbacks. I mean, he's elite, but he's also elite when it comes to getting injured.
All right. So the one I picked for worst move of the year was, as I mentioned, was the Jamar Chase trade. You had to give up a second round pick for next year. And I know we were talking about it, you know, after the season was over, just amongst us, saying how long of a wait that is until you get that pick again. And so, is it justifiable to say that it was a good move or a bad move? Right? I mean, there's points where it helped get you to that championship game, but to not have that pick and not have the championship next year, that stood out to me as a tough move. I mean, I don't know if that's an odd way of looking at it, because maybe you don't even get to the championship without him, but you don't have that pick and you don't have the championship. So that's why I picked that. So those are our three. Do we want to make a consensus here, or do we just call it a draw and move on?
The only reason I have a hard time with that one, like I
Any
totally
thoughts?
understand the reasoning that because he didn't win it, but in that championship game, like he doesn't have a prayer against Aaron without him. Because Chase was really, really good that on that championship week.
Hmm.
Yeah, he had the 2 touchdowns. Yeah, he was good. 22 some points, I think, is what it was he
Yeah.
ended up with.
Yeah, 22 even on the dot.
Hmm.
And so
Understood.
so I think what we could do with that one is this could be a candidate for worst move of the year next year.
We can already book it for next year.
Because yeah, Todd not having that second round pick turns into him being one of the worst teams in the league next year.
Hmm.
Because
Could be.
it could,
Could
I'm
be.
just saying, it's on the board. Todd doesn't think so.
All right. No, I'm sure it's not. Well, we're going to just call this one a draw. We'll
Okay.
continue on. Let's go to best move of the year. Some of the previous winners in 2022, Gardner Minshew, who was picked up after Jalen Hurts got hurt and scored 50 points against yours truly. So that didn't feel good. 2023, what is it? Kilgore Trout's pickup of Puka Nakua early in that season that helped him a ton. And then last year we selected Tamales, drafting Saquon in the first round, and had a fantastic season with him. So here's some of the candidates for this year's 2025 best move of the year. Some of the ones I had selected were Lion Rips free agent pickup of Trevor Lawrence, because obviously that was huge for him in those playoffs, especially after Patrick Mahomes went down. I had Butterfingers picking up free agent Matt Stafford earlier in the year, and of course Stafford had an MVP type of season. And I also had CUP drafting Drake May in the 10th round, waiting on a quarterback, and he was his best player. It helped him a ton get to the playoffs. On Mikey's side, he had Eric drafting Trey McBride in the third round, Aaron picking up Michael Wilson, who was just incredible down the stretch, the Arizona wide receiver. And he also had the Stafford's free agent pickup. And for Todd, he had the Jamar Chase trade. He also had Michael Wilson, and he also had Stafford's free agent pickup. So the winner is, of course, Matt Stafford and his free agent pickup. So I'll let Todd talk over that, and great move by Todd Diamond that helped him get to the championship game.
Yeah, I mean, and I gotta maybe thank Mikey a little bit for that, because Mikey's like, Todd, are you gonna draft a backup quarterback? What are you doing? I'm like, all right. So I pick, because originally I drafted Purdy, and then I was like, well, I'll pick up Matthew Stafford, and obviously Purdy ended up getting hurt, and Matthew Stafford from that point on balled out. I mean, he's probably gonna win. He's probably gonna win MVP season he's having, and I mean, obviously was a big part for my team this year. I mean, one game he had five touchdowns. I mean, obviously he picked the championship game chosen the championship game to have his worst game of the season. But hey, it's that's over with. That's back in 2025. No, I mean, picking up Stafford was great. I mean, just the way that Rams offense was. I mean, it was definitely shades of Greatest Show on Turf. The way Matthew Stafford and with Puka and Devontae Adams and company what they were doing and how many points they were putting up each week. Oh, it was amazing. So kudos to me.
I love this podcast. Matt Stafford was the number one overall quarterback in our league, 830 points. He had 8 games of 50 or more points, 3 games with 60 or more points, and had 8 games where he had 3 touchdown passes or more. And it was a big time year for him. Mikey, do you want to say anything about Stafford or any of the other great moves from 2025?
Well, yeah, I'll mention the Michael Wilson thing. That probably the reason why Aaron won. We all knew he had the 3-headed monster at running back, Mahomes and Kelsey combination, but his weakness for the entirety of the season was at the wide receiver. Because he never knew like what he was going to get from Jameson Williams. Michael Pittman was okay for him at times, but when he picked up Michael Wilson, it gave him somebody that he actually was able to rely upon from the time he picked him up until the very end of the year, and he had a touchdown in the championship game. So, yeah, I mean, I totally agree with Todd winning this award. But yeah, I think that move of Aaron picking up Michael Wilson, that was a big one too.
All right. Well, Matt Stafford, free agent pickup by Butterfingers, is the best move of the year. We continue on here and we go to our comeback player of the year. Some of the previous winners back in 2022, Saquon Barkley, who had a rebound year that season. And how about DJ Moore back in 2023? And then Josh Jacobs last year was our comeback player of the year, and he would go on to have a pretty decent year here as well. But the candidates for this season's comeback player of the year, some familiar names. You talk about Christian McCaffrey, who missed 13 games in 2024, ended up finishing first among running backs this season. Of course, Puka Nacua, who last year finished 26th after missing 7 games. You talk about Dak Prescott, who missed 9 games in 2024. He would end up finishing as the number 2 quarterback behind Matt Stafford here this season. I talk about Caleb Williams. Todd has a couple of guys. He had Caleb Williams, the Bears quarterback, who had a good season. Bryce Young, Carolina quarterback, and George Pickens as well. And Mikey kind of had the same ones that I did. The only one I had that I did not have Puka as one of my guys. But I had Stephon Diggs, who missed 9 games in 2024, finished 18th this season. And I know Stephon Diggs was a guy that I just crapped on a lot at the beginning of this season, and he would go on to have a pretty solid season here as a number 2 kind of wide receiver. And so I had Christian McCaffrey number 1. Mikey had Christian McCaffrey number 1. Todd didn't pick his boy in that one. And so CMC is going to be our comeback player of the year. And I'll let Mikey kind of talk about why he selected him as the number one comeback player of this year of 2025.
Well, yeah, this is totally injury related. I think
Yeah.
every season of Christian McCaffrey's career, he has been close to, if not, the top running back because he's consistently like right around 20 points a game, and he stayed healthy for the entire season. Like,
Yeah. 17 games played.
like wow, like, and with the workload that he had, and
Yeah.
does it worry me for next year? Yes, but for this year, yeah, I mean, he was just awesome all year, and yeah, totally deserving of that award.
Yeah. He'll get hurt next year, and then he'll be the comeback player of the year in 2027. So there's that. Todd, do you want to mention why you had Caleb Williams as your number one, or do you want to talk more about your boy CMC?
Um, no, the reason I picked Caleb Williams just because I mean, obviously last year, it was just a rookie, but there was a lot of expectations and everything, and everybody thought, oh, he's gonna come into the league and really just light it up, and it really didn't happen. Really kind of struggled. And this year, I mean, granted, they got a new coach and offensive minded coach, and kind of opened the doors. And Caleb Williams went from the kind of really the bottom to eighth this year. So I think it's definitely something to look to keep your eye on going into next season for Caleb Williams to be maybe a I don't know, maybe even like maybe like a I mean, he finished eighth in our league. Maybe like maybe staying in that top 10, maybe just a smidge maybe a smidge below the out of the top 10 for next year. So that's why I picked Caleb Williams for a comeback.
And that one I totally disagreed with, but yeah.
Okay.
Is it because kind of the definition, and I don't know, there might be different definitions of comeback player of the year, but
Mm-hmm.
comeback means they were really good at one point, had a bad year or an injured year, then they came back and did it again type of scenario?
Yeah, I know he was just a rookie, but I just thought there was so much expectations. There was so much expectations for him to really be good right out the gate. And and last year just wasn't. I mean, he maybe trying to get into a rhythm or something just wasn't happening. Because you saw the success with Bo Nix last year and Jaden Daniels and so forth, and Caleb Williams was kind of. I mean, people were saying, oh, if we redrafted that draft class, Jaden Daniels would go first, and then probably then Bo Nix, then Caleb Williams, and then so that's where I kind of that's where kind of my mindset was. My thinking was with comeback player of the year for Caleb
So,
Williams.
so my problem with it is two
Uh
things.
huh. Okay.
If you're treating it as like an NFL comeback player of the year, I'm totally okay with it. No
Okay.
problems. But when we're talking about fantasy football, there's just no way. Like, he had 9 games under 40 points. Like, I played him 3 times the entire season. Like, I basically wasn't even using him because of how bad he was. Like, yeah, he finished eighth in totality, but that's because he was healthy the entire season.
Hmm.
Like, he wasn't like consistent like at all. He 3 games over 50. Like I said, 9 under 40, and he basically like it was such a chore for him to get to 20 completions. Like, I don't know, he's just not. I don't think that he's a very good quarterback in our league.
Hmm.
Yeah, I can kind of see that too, where it's how do you gauge it, right? Is it overall or is it based in our league? Like if he only got played 3 times all year, does that constitute comeback player of the year? I don't know. It's like when you talk about some of these awards and how much should they be from losing teams or winning teams or teams that didn't even play these guys. So I think there's that. And I think that's why, yeah,
Well,
that's some of the conversations that need to be had as we go forward with
and
some
it
of these
makes it
awards, I guess.
saying he finished eighth. That makes it seem like I should have been playing him, right? But the truth is, no, I shouldn't
The
have.
truth, right? Because of the injury, Joe Burrow, right? He gets knocked off that top 10, top 12 list, however you want to say it. And so he's gone off that list. And if anybody misses a few games or they get rested at the end of the year, then they're not in that mix either. But since he played all 17 games, he's going to be up there in that mix.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. And I see what Todd's saying just in terms of overall NFL world. People shit on him, didn't have any expectations for him, and he ended up in an NFL because what he ended up with close to 4,000 yards passing, 27 passing touchdowns. He also ran for 3 touchdowns. But if you're talking about fantasy wise, yeah, he wouldn't have put up at least consistent numbers where we'd feel comfortable using him all the time, especially for someone like Mikey who lost Burrow and needed a quarterback to who am I going to play this week, right? And so he drafted Caleb Williams, hoping he would be, and then he just never really came out. So I get both sides of the coin on it. But we had the winner anyway, and that is CMC. Let's move on to the MHA Surprise Player of the Year. Always cool to see which guys jump out of nowhere to have good seasons to help these teams win and get to the playoffs. A couple of the previous winners, 2022, Kenny Walker, was that the third? The second?
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember.
Third.
Kenny Walker. In 2023, remember Raheem Mostert? Talk about a one-year wonder. I don't think he did much of anything this year. And then last year, Chuba Hubbard came out to help Kilgore Trout. He was huge for him last season. Some of the candidates for this season's Surprise Player of the Year, some of the Todd guys, Jaylen Warren, of course, he was pretty good for me here this year. Travis Etienne, Jake Ferguson was Todd's number 1. For Mikey, he had Travis Etienne as well, Javonte Williams and Matt Stafford. And yours truly had Chris Olave just because I didn't think he was going to do anything. And he was great. And I also had Javonte Williams and Travis Etienne. So with all of us having Travis Etienne as a vote, he is this year's winner. And I will let Mikey talk about Travis Etienne. I mean, he was interesting scenario because some of it's just funny because of where he was drafted. And he ended up having a pretty good year.
I think he's definitely the winner because it kind of gets egg on all of our faces. Not just the 3 of us that are doing the podcast, but everybody that was at the draft as well. Because I think when that pick came out, I think it was round 2, very end of round 2, and we all kind of laughed and said, Travis Etienne, like, what the hell? And so it goes. It was actually a great pick. You know, who would have thought it, you know?
All right. Is it now?
I know what you're going to say. Say.
There's still other guys that should have
You're going to say that was total luck that it turned out the way that it did.
No. What I'm going to say is there were still, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 running backs that were better than him. So,
true. And the reason that I would probably, I guess, agree that it was a bad pick is that you probably could have had Travis Etienne in round 7 if you wanted.
Yeah, that's a big part of it too. But still, it is funny. I find it hysterical because you're right. We all kind of like, what's going on? Does he? Because Allen wasn't at the draft this year, and we were just like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? And he ended up rushing for over 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns, and had 36 catches for 6 touchdowns, and so finished as a top 10 guy. So attaboy. So Todd, you Jake Ferguson, your number 1 surprise player of the year. Of course, that's someone on your team. Do you want to explain yourself?
Well, I mean, obviously, tight ends obviously are are a crapshoot sometimes, unless you have like really the top guys, and the top guys were Trey McBride and Jake Bowers, but I mean Brock Bowers, excuse me, sorry. But I mean, for an offense that CeeDee Lamb is is the main target, and I mean obviously Ferguson finished third in our third among tight ends, and that's pretty good as well. I mean there was only one game. I think one game he didn't play in, but he was consistent enough. And me trying to find a tight end that that can stick for me. And I mean, granted, I should have played him in the championship weekend, but I didn't.
Oh, so it's a bad surprise player of the year. because
Yeah.
you didn't play him, and he would have helped you win a championship.
So,
Yes.
so are you more surprised at how good he was the first half of the season, or how god awful he was in the second half? Because this is why I hate these counting stats. Because like he was he was one of the best tight ends ever in the first half of the year, but from
Hmm.
week 8 on, he was just complete crap.
Yeah, only had 1 week was double digits, but still finishing third overall. I mean, I know, when stats get padded like this, it's Mikey loves it, but
Because
yeah,
it's not
but
telling me the true story. I want
well,
honesty.
well,
Oh, here's the honest part of it. Todd likes his team. That's the honest. He can't look outside of his own blinders and pick genuine answers or outside of his box. I mean, how do we not talk about Javonte Williams and what he
Yes.
did this year? I mean, we all just like I know for sure I did was saying, "Oh, I don't even want to watch Javonte Williams play football. He's terrible." And golly, he had double figures in just about every game outside of 3. Like he was incredible this year. And for where, he was drafted, he ended up being, 1,200 yards rushing, 11 touchdowns, also had 35 catches and 2 TDs. That's a surprise. Like that, him and Javonte Williams finished, 10th and 11th this season. Those are surprises for sure.
Yeah, I think we were surprised from the because it was that opening Thursday night football game, and I think Javante got the first 2 touchdowns for Dallas. And we're like, right out of the
Yeah.
gate, we're like, what is going on?
No Jadon Blue, that's for sure. Anybody else that was in that mix? Mikey, do you want to talk about your Matt Stafford? I mean, obviously we've talked about him a little bit already.
Yeah, I mean the reason that I had him there is just because number one, he didn't get drafted, and
Yeah.
then number two, like going back to our rankings, like I think all of us had him somewhere around like late teens, early 20s, as far
Yeah.
as quarterback. And so for him to come out and just light the world on fire and finish number one, that even with the weapons he had, it's still shocking.
Well, I remember you and I, like, I guess everybody on this podcast, but we kind of came to that consensus is that if Puka's going to finish in the top 10 and Devontae Adams that we liked, like, he's got to have a good season, right? Yeah, I had him ranked 22nd at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, and yet
But yeah, so like
yet
you
he
kind of
didn't
had to
get
be like,
drafted.
well, maybe he's got to be good if these guys are going to do well, if we believe in these guys. So
Yeah.
he ended up doing Matt Stafford. But Travis Etienne, egg on our faces, all of our faces, except Allen's. Good job, Allen. All right, we're down to our last 2 awards. And we'll start off here with the MHA Bust of the Year. 2024, Tyreek Hill. Back in 2023, good old Austin Eckler, Division II Austin Eckler.
yeah.
And how about in that was 2023, 2022, Alvin Kamara. So who are the candidates for this year's Bust of the Year? Yours truly had Baker Mayfield at number 3, Chuba Hubbard at number 2, and CeeDee Lamb at number 1. I hate to pick my own guys in those situations, but just looking over everything. I also had Justin Jefferson in this mix as well, but those are the guys I went with. Todd also, he had Marvin Harrison, Xavier Worthy, and Justin Jefferson. And Mikey also had Justin Jefferson, Brian Thomas Jr., and Lad McConkey. So, based on the fact that Justin Jefferson was picked number 1 by Todd and Mikey, Justin Jefferson is the winner.
Yay.
Yeah, I'm sure he wants us to send in the award FedEx Express.
Yeah.
He was drafted 10th overall. He finished 23rd, only had 2 touchdowns all year. Todd, why is Justin Jefferson the bust of the year?
For a wide receiver that is considered one of the best in the NFL, and is and obviously is as good as he is, and you think, okay, maybe he's quarterback proof. Doesn't matter who's throwing the ball. He just, I mean, yeah, I mean, obviously McCarthy going down for part of the season, no consistency. Yeah, Justin Jefferson just did not. Yeah, it was a bad season for him, and where he got drafted. Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. So who knows? Maybe he might be comeback. He might be a candidate for comeback player of the year next year. Who knows? But Yeah, you like that's your that's your number one draft pick, and you need him to perform for you every single week, regardless of the quarterback situation or whatever else arises during the season.
I ended up picking C. Lamb over Justin Jefferson just for a couple of facts that Lamb was drafted higher and he finished worse in terms of points. He finished 25th and he had a better quarterback, a consistently good quarterback. Obviously, George Pickens ate up into those volume stats for sure, but that's why I went with CeeDee Lamb. Mikey, your thoughts on any remaining thoughts on Justin Jefferson? Or if you want to talk about
Well,
someone
I
else,
mean,
go
with
for it.
CeeDee Lamb, I thought injury played a part in that too, and yeah, I mean, with Justin Jefferson, he earned it for me with just the fact that week 10 to week 15 stretch of six
Yeah, that's pretty
games
bad.
where he had 27 total points in 6 weeks, like no 20-point games on the season, two total touchdowns for a first round pick. Like, I mean, the fact that Quayne made the playoffs is still astonishing to me. And we'll talk about why he did, I'm sure, here in the next category. But yeah, Justin Jefferson was just not good this year. Not good at all.
He was doo.
Still got to 1,000 yards somehow.
Well,
Just, I guess, just playing every
they
game.
forced that in the last game. That was their whole
That's
goal.
what you were saying.
They were going to make sure he got there.
He finished with 84 receptions, 1,000 yards, and 2 TDs in 17 games played. So here you go. Justin Jefferson, our MHA bust of the year. And as we're coming down the last 10, 12 minutes here of the show, time for the most valuable player in the MHA. Last year, the MVP was Joe Burrow, of course, helping out Kilgore Trout to that championship. 2023, Christian McCaffrey, helping Todd on his way to the championship. And then 2022, Travis Kelce. Was that you, Miguel? Who was that?
Yeah, it was me.
So there you go. Travis Kelce, Christian McCaffrey, and Joe Burrow, the candidates for this year's award. A couple of guys I threw out there: Drake May, Matt Stafford, Jonathan Taylor. Todd, he had CMC as his number one. Jackson Smith and Jigba, Bijan Robinson, and Mikey, he had Bijan number one. Christian McCaffrey and Drake May. So all kinds of big time names here that put up big time fantasy stats this year. Hard to go wrong with any of them, but just based on how the players were voted, it looks like Christian McCaffrey is the number one, the MVP. He was the top scoring running back this season. He was the top scoring non-quarterback this season as well. 370 points. He had 1,200 yards rushing with 10 touchdowns. I didn't realize he had 102 receptions until I looked at this yesterday, and then 7 receiving touchdowns as well. And so Christian McCaffrey, the MVP. I mean, we talked about him already, but Todd, what do you want to say?
The injuries are the only thing that's that keeps Christian McCaffrey from not being, the consensus number one overall pick every single year. It's Christian McCaffrey. I say it every year. He checks every single box. He runs. He catches. I mean, I know when Jamar Chase put up astronomical numbers. It's a wide receiver. What Saquon did a few years ago. But at the end of the day, fellas, Christian McCaffrey checks every single box. Like he is on the field 99% of the time. He does everything. He runs between the tackles. He catches. He'll outrun you. Again, there was only one week where he had under double digit points, and that was week 8 against Houston, when he had 7 points. So number one overall player, because LaDainian Tomlinson did everything, and McCaffrey checks those boxes too. So there you go.
Well, the one box he doesn't check is he wasn't on the championship team. But based on the stats and whatever, and the way this vote went down. Mike, you had Bijan number one, and I'm sure that big part of that was his playoff run with Mr. Lion Rip.
Yeah, it obviously was. What's interesting about this year, I think last year it was pretty easy for us to say Joe Burrow. Uh, this year, man, I struggled with this vote between the two. Yeah, but it came down to Bijan. For me, Bijan was so incredible down the stretch. Like just looking at his last 3 weeks, 25, 25, and then the 38 in the championship game.
Yeah.
I can't argue with Christian McCaffrey. I mean, he had 8 games this year where he was a top 5 running back on the week. Like that's insane. So I can't argue with what Todd says. It's just for me, what put it over the top was when they faced each other. And obviously, they're not going one on one, but
Yeah.
Aaron talked about this last week. I think all of us thought Todd had it in the bag until Bijan Robinson came along and stole it with 38 points. And so that's why I had to give my vote to him, but I can't argue with McCaffrey.
Well, there you have it. Chris McCaffrey, your MVP. And that does it for the award show. Any last words before we get out of here, gentlemen?
All I have to say, it was a catch. It was a catch. It was a catch.
The season can't be over quick enough.
Okay, you're going to have to let it go until you see that photo at the draft, because whether Aaron does it or someone else or me, that picture's somewhere at the draft. Guarantee it.
I'm going to get a graffiti at just
graffiti. Well, there you have it. Well done, gentlemen. MHA Fantasy Football, so much fun.
Oh, yeah.
The awards have been handed out. Congratulations, all our winners, even the bust of the year. So, for Todd Diamond, Eric Lansing, and Mike Renault, we'll see you next time on that MHA podcast.